Hey guys, Doug Childs here, Warriors and Wildmen. It's a Dougcast day, y'all ready? I love it when lazy and willfully ignorant and politically inactive, self-obsessed, culturally ineffective Christians, quote unquote, complain about how bad things are getting out there, man, and how this must be the end of the world, principally because Kim Kardashian's making mad money off her Instagram butt pics. Yep, these myopic seers of only bad omens think that humanity has never seen the likes of our kind of ice, and thus they conclude, well, the end has come. Now, when I hear these goobers talk about the supposed never-before-seen depravity, and their conclusion that this must be what R.E.M. sang about in their 1987 smash hit, It's the End of the World as We Know It, I'm kind of like, have you ever studied world history even a wee bit? Have you ever picked up your Bible and just read the chapter titles? Huh? Look, not so sharp Christian. It's been bad before, like in real bad. And you know what? The world didn't end. It kept clipping along. God's solution for cultural pollution has always been his people shaping up their shoddy spiritual lives and becoming purposefully engaged in reforming the sinful deformities besetting this blue marble. Shocking, eh? By the way, a lot of the biblical and post-biblical reformers had a much worse field to plow than we do. As we'll see as you'll see, and if you buy my book, Rules for Radical Christians, our protagonists didn't have incredible props that we have. And their milieu was way more antagonistic towards their faith. For instance, 2,600 years ago, the nation of Judah was finding it inconvenient to follow the law of God. After Jehovah patiently warned this backslidden bunch through his prophets, he finally got sick of their contumacy. He decided that if they wouldn't listen to his prophets, well, maybe they would listen to 70 years of getting their backsides handed to them by a godless king named Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was one of the top guns of the ancient world. Imagine all the world's worst leaders that are around now blended into one megalomaniacal fiend on steroids. Yeah, that's Nebuchadnezzar. God chose this wicked king and kingdom to smack Judah back to obedience to his holy covenant. Nebuchadnezzar ransacked the people of God. Oh boy, did he. He wrecked their Precious Moments figurine collection. Every sweet little religious ditty that they held dear met the Babylonian wood chipper. Can you feel this? Not only did he waylay their quaint little way of life, but he also dragged their butts kicking and screaming into his demonic den, Babylon. Babylon now, though wicked, was not gnarly to the young person's fleshly lower cortex monkey brain delights. Oh no. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful place, sort of a 24/7, 365 spring break in Miami baby feel. Yep, Babylon, it was decadent and it was attractive. And if you weren't properly grounded in God, you'd probably be found twerking away on the Red Bull stage doing jello shots off a girl's chest at Nikki Beach Club, baby. And that, my friends, was the scene Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were forced into. Check it out. These teenagers, let me say it again in case you're not getting it. These teenagers, mind you, they got cut off from their Bible studies and their backyard barbecues, and they were tossed into a culture that wooed them daily to blow off God. To the natural eye and from a churchy perspective, these young men were in deep weeds. It appeared that their relationship with God and their rightful places in the planet were fleeing from reality faster than a chalupa dipped in lubriderm would go through your digestive system. Shockingly, these choice young men, operative word, young, they thrived in this scat-laden culture. It wasn't easy though, but so what? God never said it would be easy. These young dudes with the odds tremendously stacked against them came through this God-ordained hailstorm with their faith intact and the wicked culture courting their righteous help and advice. Can you say boom? I knew you could. The grandest sin of Daniel and his compadres in a sinfully complicated mess was the product of giving God their utmost for his highest. Along with their unfeigned faith, they also pursued excellence in dealing with their bedeviled flesh. Consequently, They became leaders who were sharp, solid, and smart, well-versed in all manner of knowledge and understanding in Babylon's literature and language. They were brilliant servants who were 10 times better than all of Nebuchadnezzar's dudes in his kingdom. And guess what, young Christian? Well, Yogi Bear said it's deja vu all over again. You are where Daniel and his buddies were 2,600 years ago, in a bad environment under the sway of demonic principalities that have your erasure in mind. And that's where my book, Rules for Radical Christians, come in handy. The tolerant society which you live in, young person, is intolerant of your biblical worldview. So what are young people to do? Well, you could huddle together in a Christian subculture and pray that Christ would come quickly and rapture you out of this mess. Or you could compromise your godly principles, becoming spiritual chameleons, and allow your relationship with Christ to be governed by CNN. Or you can become strategically equipped to move into an anti-theistic environment and effectively influence it for the glory of God. Imagine that. Rules for radicals, rules for radical Christians, it argues only for the last option. Yep, indeed, Rules for Radical Christians is not a survival devotional designed to help the young adult limp through life. Rather, it's a road-tested Dominion blueprint that'll equip the young adult with leadership skills and sufficient motivation to rise to a place of power in an overtly non-Christian culture, just like Daniel did. Hey, this is Doug Giles. You're listening to Warriors and Wildmen. Are you subscribed yet? You're not? Well, come on, man. Jump on the Warriors and Wildmen bandwagon. It's a magic bus driven by two lunatics, me and Rich. Also, like I've been prattling on in this podcast, you got to get my book, Rules for Radical Christians. 10 biblical disciplines for influential believers. Imagine that. Believers, instead of cowering in a corner, rolled up in the fetal position, wetting their big Christian diaper because things are bad, they're actually throwing a holy punch to culture, to arts, politics, education, business, etc., and changing this crappy environment instead of blathering about how bad it is. Go over to Amazon.com, click your mouse, melt your plastic. Rules for Radical Christians, 10 biblical disciplines for influential believers. Peace out, and remember, you got to remember to always stay rowdy.